someone who we both have going pretty damn far in the tournament. I have them making the final. You have them making the semifinal. Portugal.
Portugal.
I wanted to ask your thoughts. What do you think about this Portuguese side and their chances at the World Cup here?
I think they for a lot of people they're not very under the radar team, just for the fact that you know how how they have such a strong core. Like they have a strong core to go off of, especially like even starting in defense where they have Ruben Diaz and they have Cancelo. Like those are very two influential players that have on defense. And when you go to the midfield, they have a very solid midfield in Bruno Fernandes and Bernardo Silva. And then when you go to attack, you got freaking you got obviously Cristiano Ronaldo and then Leao. And Leao's been playing very, very good.
Unbelievable.
Player of the month, I believe, either last month or the
Yeah,
month before in
for
Serie
Serie A,
A.
yeah.
And obviously, he's never played with this. He hasn't really got a chance to play with his Portugal squad, but hopefully, he can get into and get on the same page with everybody because this squad, this Portuguese squad, is the best it's been since I can remember. I can remember the last time they. I mean, I can't remember since ever in the Cristiano Ronaldo era that they've had a team where we could say they could make the final.
Yeah.
Like because Bernardo Silva is he's one of the most
He's
underrated
so
players.
underrated, man. He's so underrated. It's because it's because Man City is so good.
Are so good. And Bruno's kind of fallen off, but I think he's
Still
definitely
Bruno.
he's still Bruno. He's good to have. And I forget the name of their central defensive player. He always Carvalho. I was thinking Carvalho. It depends on who they want to play there. I'm not sure who they would play there. Carvalho is the more veteran player. I think he's a better defensive guy because if they would play, I'm thinking they're playing a 4-3-3. I have no idea what they want to play because I would put Ronaldo as the poacher as the 9.
Yeah,
and I think Ronaldo is readying himself for a big tournament because this is the world stage and
this is his last hurrah.
This is his last hoorah of like a top level play because God knows what's going to happen with his whole club situation and the fact that he just hasn't had a lot of chances to play. And I think he's going to do. There's no other situation ever that he would want to show out more than for his country
100%.
In his last World Cup. And I think he's going to get as far as the semifinal. I don't see him going all the way, to the final like you do. But I think it's going to be respectable, because I can't see a lot of people saying before this hand of how far they would go. But they have a very, very good squad.
Yeah.
And I think they can go very, very far.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I mean, their squad like the depth on their squad is so good, and that's not even including. I keep saying his name. That's not even having Jota, who's a great player. It's one of those things. This team, it's so good on paper, but it's something you kind of have seen in the past. It comes down to Fernando.
They don't mesh, yeah. They don't mesh.
But Fernando Santos, as the manager, his squads and his teams have consistently underperformed. You've seen it time and time again. They were able to win the Euros in 2016, but pretty much besides that, they've just always underperformed as to how good we think they could be. And, the attack is amazing. I had it literally written down here. Bernardo Silva performance will be key because he's such a great player in my eyes. And I think he's bound to have a really, really great World Cup. I expect a great World Cup from him. The defense is strong. It's well balanced. I just think it's going to come down to how they all mesh together. And if Ronaldo has the World Cup that I expect him to have, people are making it out to be like Ronaldo is a completely washed, finished player. This World Cup, I think he's really compared to his situation right now at Manchester United, which we're going to get into after this, it's just, he doesn't have any belief with him there. They want him out, and stuff like that. This Portugal team they actually believe in him. They respect him and all of those things. He's going to be that guy, the number 9. He's not the player that he was, obviously, but he still can contribute. He can score the goals. He's the greatest goal scorer of this generation at the end of the day.
Greatest goal scorer of all time.
Of all time, yeah. So it's just like one of those things. If he has the World Cup I expect him to have, it won't particularly matter Fernando Santos being a kind of a bad manager in my opinion. He's not the greatest option.
Not
It's
the best one, yeah.
similar to England's issues with Gareth Southgate. If Portugal had a different manager than Fernando Santos, I think I'd be having a different conversation. And even with that, I still think they're going to the final. But I think if anything's going to hold this team back, it's got to be that, because on paper, the squad is just so good. Leao, Bernardo Silva, Ronaldo, even though he's not quite the same player, their defense is good.
The only hole in their defense is obviously they have like a 60-year-old Pepe, but like
exactly
they have the left back from PSG, Nunez, who's pretty solid, but
young
good to
player.
have. Like they have
he's good in the attack as well.
A solid left back and right back. They can attack from those left back and right. I mean, it's Cancelo. Cancelo, I think, is one of the best utility knife people you could have.
Exactly,
he can literally play anywhere.
100%.
He can actually play fucking anywhere. And he's very good on defense, and he's very good on attack. And Diaz is just that stopper. And I think
Diaz is an amazing center back.
They're still running Rui Patricio in goal, I believe. I think it's still Rui Patricio.
Yeah.
Then he's a solid keeper. I mean,
he always steps up his performance in the big moments.
He's always been there. He's a veteran, and like I said, their midfield's good. The other thing is, I don't know quite what formation they're gonna play. I'm not sure what they're gonna.
Yeah, like I said, it comes down to those. It comes down to those Fernando Santos tactics. I don't know.
God.
It's just one of those things. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. The sky is the limit for this team. If you tell me, if somebody from the future came here and told me Portugal won the World Cup, I wouldn't be surprised. However, in the same breath, if somebody from the future came here and told me Portugal, they got knocked out in the quarterfinals or the round of 16, I also couldn't be surprised. It's like the sky is the limit, but also they could flop. It's just so in between. I think it's going to be the higher end of that scale, and they're making the final. But also, I could see them going out, relatively kind of early, compared to what I think. It's just so up in the air with them.
Yeah.
Because there's so many question marks, It's just we don't know exactly what we're getting. But my prediction of them going to the final is more, I think that those question marks are going to be answered, but in a positive way. But at the same time, they could be answered in a negative way, and Ronaldo has a bad World Cup and cements himself as him falling off, and Leao doesn't quite do what we expect on the big stage. We see it's easy to do that when you're playing for AC Milan, but on the biggest stage, playing with Cristiano Ronaldo and the pressure, is Leao going to step up and be that guy? We don't know. It's just so many question marks.